Thank you very much. My name is Thomas Rundqvist. I'm the Global Communications Director at Xvivo. So good morning, and please feel free to interrupt me whenever you have a question. Xvivo is a company that wants to change the world for all those in need of a new organ. So what is it that we do? Well, if we start with the company name, Xvivo, it means outside of the body. And that's exactly where we are in the transplant process. From that, you take an organ out of a donor until you transplant it into the recipient. So in that space, we have services and technologies. And for example, we have organ recovery service, which is that we go out and get the organ for the clinic. We have organ preservation technologies to keep the organs in a good condition outside of the body. And then also organ assessment, which means that some of our technologies, you can warm up the organs to body temperature, evaluate the organ to see if it's good enough for a transplantation. We are in the market for the 4 major organs. It's heart, it's lungs, it's kidney, and liver. Today, the standard of care is still to put organs on ice, exactly like you see in all TV shows. There's going to be a transplantation, it's very rushed, they take out the organ, they put it into a beer cooler with ice, and then they just rush off. And that, unfortunately, is still the standard of care. That might not be the best way to keep an organ outside of the body. Instead, machine perfusion will make this process a lot better. And what you actually do with machine perfusion, I have one of our technologies here with me. This is our latest innovation that we will soon bring to the market. It's for hearts. And what you do is you take the organ out of the body, you connect it, and then you place it in this device. There we let a cold fluid, which is about 8 degrees, pump through the organ, oxygenated, and also providing the organ with nutrition. So with doing this, you can actually keep the organ outside of the body for a longer time and also keep it in a healthy, good condition, still oxygenated and with the nutrition that the heart needs. And we have 3 business areas. It's thoracic for heart and lung. It's abdominal for kidney and liver. And then also we have services. And services will be an area that will also grow for us in the future because that's beyond product. That's how we can help our customers to grow their transplant programs. For example, with the organ recovery service if they don't have the resources. North America is our biggest market, followed by Europe, and then with 5%, that's mainly Australia. We were founded in 1998, around 190 people, and the head office is in this building. We do have 3 development sites. We have one in Denver, the US, one in Groningen in the Netherlands, and then also in Lund, Sweden. And we had a net sales last year of 822 million kronor. And going into the financials, we had an organic growth of 39% and then an EBITDA of 22%. If you then look at the right, you see that thoracic was the biggest area. That's where we come from. We were a lung business, that's where we have the biggest market share, and also that within lungs we are the global leaders. Within liver, we are the European leaders. And for kidney, we are in a good place. And then for the heart technology, it's not being launched. It will be launched this year in Europe. So this has the future global potential. As you can see on the right-hand side, disposables, why that's important for us. And that really gives off our business model, which is razor blade. So we sell our devices. Sometimes we place them, and sometimes we have a in-between solution. But that's not where we earn our money. It's on the disposables. So the more these devices are used, the more money we earn, which is also a very good opportunity for us to actually build partnerships with our customers, because there's a big pressure from governments to increase the number of transplants. And sometimes it's hard for transplant centers to increase their programs. But then we come in with our devices, and then also we provide a lot of support, training, and so on. So we are building strong relationships with our customers. A messy slide, but just to show you that we were founded in '98, and as I said, we were a lung company. Our innovations came from a collaboration with a scientific center in Lund, Sweden, with a collaboration with Professor Stig Sten. And that's also where the heart technology was developed in cooperation with us. So we were very strong in lungs, and also that's where we are the market leaders still today. In 2020, we acquired a Dutch company, and they had machine perfusion for kidney and liver. So after that acquisition, we are, as we say, an all-organ company, so the 4 major organs. They, of course, had a history themselves, so their liver machine perfusion technology has last year celebrated 25 years. So all our devices on the market today have been there for a while, and also that we have a lot of proof behind them. If we look at our vision and strategy, first of all, our vision, which is that nobody should die waiting for a new organ. And I would say that when I joined the company 3.5 years ago, I was a little bit surprised that everyone knew the vision. And that's also how it is today. It's deeply rooted in everything that we do. And with that vision, we have our strategy, which goes until 2027, where we say that we want to be the preferred partner in the transplant process. That's our desired position. And our way to get there is that we are going to, I cannot read that, but I know them. We're going to be market leaders in kidney. We are going to, which one is first? Liver, accelerate market leadership in liver. As I said, we are the European leaders. And also with this technology that we will bring to the market, we believe that we will change the paradigm of heart preservation. And let me just tell you why. The heart is the organ that is the most sensitive to being outside of the body. It can be on ice, followed by a successful transplantation for approximately 3 hours. The record that we have with this device, that has been published in the Lancet as well, is 12 hours. And that gives you a lot of time that you rarely have in organ transplantation. So we believe this device will actually change the paradigm of heart preservation. And then we will also accelerate our market leadership within lungs. And our financial goal is that in 2027, we will have an EBITDA of 30%, and last year we had 22%. Yes.
Well, behind that statement, you believe that this is a paradigm changer. What are the facts that you have? Because you must have run a number of tests clinically or...
With this device, first of all, is the time aspect that from on ice 3 hours, and if you can increase that to 8, 10, 12 hours, it opens up so many possibilities.
I totally
Yeah.
realize that, and I think it's fantastic. Could you substantiate the tests that you have done?
The clinical trials.
Yes.
Yeah. There we have a clinical trial that ran in Europe, and that was published last year. And the big thing was that we showed a risk reduction in PGD, and PGD is primary graft dysfunction. That is, if something happens to the heart within the first 30 days, that's a PGD. And that's also an indicator of a long time survival. And we had a risk reduction of 61%. That is huge. And it was also that this study was designed so we can say that it is better than ice. Most other studies that's been done by competitors have shown that it's not worse than ice. So that's a big difference as well. But this was an RCT performed as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. If we look at the transplant market and take a step back and look at what does it look like in the world. The World Health Organization, they have estimated that around 1.7 million organ transplants are needed in the world. Only 10% of that was performed last year. So only around 170,000 transplants were done. And if we then look at this per organ, first of all, do we need more people that want to donate their organs? And the answer is absolutely yes. But we also need to take and use the organs that are actually already available, donated. And we don't. So this is US figures last year. It looks about the same on a global level. But for lungs, out of the 10 people there, that's symbolizing 10 donated lungs. They're already donated, ready for donation. Only 2 of them were used. Heart, 3 out of 10 are used, and then a little bit better for kidney and liver. So what is the reason for this? The main 3 reasons why it looks like this is, first of all, organ quality, that you don't trust, the clinician don't trust the organ, that it's good enough to use, they don't have all the data they need. Logistics, it's the time outside of the body. We don't have the time. If you only have 3 hours and you have a donor in northern Sweden, recipient in southern, 3 hours is nothing. You have to say no to the organ. And then also capacity at the hospitals. If there's going to be an organ transplantation, something happens, it's between Tuesday and Wednesday in the middle of the night, you might not have 2 surgical teams in the hospital because one team needs to go and get the organ and one team needs to do the transplantation. Or you don't have a perfusionist, which is a person who can run these machines. And then you say no to the organ. So these are the main factors why we don't utilize more of the available organs. And if we then come back to Xvivo, we offer services for organ recovery, so we can actually assist them. We also in Italy have perfusionists that can run these machines. And then we have also now purchased a communication tool for hospitals to use, so it's easier communication between the transplant teams, all to help them increase their programs and get more people to receive their transplantation. And organ preservation, with the time and everything, machine perfusion can facilitate that. And then with organ assessment, that do I trust the organ or not? That in several of our technologies, you can actually warm the organ up to body temperature, check it, does it work, and then cool it down again and use it. So we have solutions for these three main groups why organs are not used today as they should. Then just a little quick look at our portfolio. The heart, you see down there to the left. Above that, lung. It's a big machine, stationary. It's for evaluation of lungs. We have liver and kidney, and for kidney we also have a transportable unit, and this a little bit smaller than this, so this is also a transportable unit. And then for lung and heart, we have also developed our own solution, liquids that the organ is circulated with, which is quite unique in the market. We're the only ones with machine perfusion devices that also have developed our own solutions. Just wrapping up, but looking at, unfortunately, this is a little bit English and Swedish, but it's updated. So just to see where we have our regulatory approvals. So for lungs, it's global. The lung portfolio is sold everywhere. For kidney, the same. And then for liver, it's Australia and Europe. And then, as you can see down there, heart is on its way in, but that's the next step. And then looking at our clinical trial status, and I talked about the European RCT trial, that for heart, and we are just now waiting for the CE mark. And once we have that, it will be launched in Europe. And Australia, they also ran a heart trial, and they are waiting for the CE mark. And once they have the CE mark, they will go to their regulatory unit and get the approval. And then for the US, we've run a trial there as well. And we will get the 1-year follow-up data in November. Once we have that analyzed, we will go to the FDA, get the approvals, and hopefully we will launch the heart technology there in 2027. And for liver in the US, we just last month had the approval to start a clinical trial in the US that will start this spring. And just my last slide, why should you then invest in us? Well, first of all, we have a market potential that is 10 times larger than the current standard of care. Our offer increases the availability of transplantable organs. We can actually make them come to use. We have a history of continuous profitable growth and high margins. And then lastly, we have a future secured product portfolio where we also have a very good track record of successfully bringing new innovations to market. And by that, I end the presentation part.
Thank you very much, Thomas. And please raise your hands if you have any further questions for him. Yeah?
Thank you. That you need an expert to run it. Yeah. In the hospitals, they have that profession already there. So the people that run the ECMO machines and so on, it's the same people that do that. So it's just an extension of what they do. However, it is a limited workforce. So we need more of those, and that's why we saw that we've been very successful in Italy when we actually provide an Xvivo perfusionist to the transplantation. So they come in and they run the machine for the hospital, and that has helped them to grow their program. So the profession is already in hospitals, but yes, it's a limitation, correct.
Okay. What kind of challenges do you see to grow? Is it that the hospitals actually know that they can use this, or what kind of obstacles do you see if you have new technology?
Yeah, it's as I said, the standard of care is still ICE, so that's kind of well known everywhere. That's how we do it. So it's a matter of us together with our competitors to build the markets. It's a fairly new market, even if many of you may have heard about us for years. It's still a little bit new. So it's about building the market, giving the arguments why this is good, and also be able to show from trials that the good results you can have from doing machine perfusion. Because if you have an organ on ice, it gets nothing. If you perfuse, I mean, an organ always needs oxygen, nutrition. I mean, we understand that because that's what the organ have all the time. And just putting it on ice will actually get the cells to start deteriorate, and they can survive for a certain amount of time, but still they would need oxygen and nutrition. But also we have the reimbursement, and we are getting Europe is getting better and better, but we still have a bit to go with the reimbursement in Europe. In many countries, it's a system that varies a lot.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Another question regarding, you mentioned competition. How is the landscape on competition for you guys?
I would say that we are 4 or 5 bigger, 3, 4 bigger players in the world. We have a very strong foothold from the past in Europe, but now we're number 1 in the US. We're also bringing the heart technology soon to the US, and we have our kidney and liver is on its way in, and the US is the biggest transplant market in the world. So we just need to come with our technologies there. But there is a big company called Transmedics in the US that, I would say it's the biggest there. And then we have some companies that have like liver perfusion or kidney perfusion, but not the whole concept, so to say.
So you're kind of lonely in that sense.
In that sense, but still, I mean, we need our competitors to build the market because it is a fairly new market.
Yes, of course. You have very strong margins and very strong operating cash flow, and you don't give any dividend. Are you looking to grow through acquisitions or to invest, or what will you do with all the cash, so to say?
Yeah, we want to grow in a healthy way. So our financial goal is, as I said, 30% EBITDA in 2027, and that is the way we are going to grow. We don't make acquisitions just because of them, but if we see that there's a space like a service offer or something that would help us build our way to the 30%, we would do that. But so far, the initiatives that we do now with the liver trial in the US, the heart trial, that's money that we took in last fall. So we have the money for the activities that we are doing right now.
Yeah, of course. I think another thing which we read about constantly when we open the news is about the tariffs in the US. How may that affect you guys?
Yeah, well, since no one knows what kind of tariffs it would be, since the president changes his mind all the time, we have several scenarios we are working with, but as long as we don't have anything actual to work with, we don't really know. But as I said before, we have a development site in the US, in Denver, where we are producing our lung devices. So we have already a facility in the US.
You want to increase the margins, right, and keep growing. What will grow fastest among your different business areas, do you think, to reach your targets? Could you elaborate a little bit about that?
Once we launch, because we have our strategy period until 2027, and within that time frame, we have launched the heart technology. I mean, that will, over time, drive a lot of business. Once we come into the US with our liver technology, that we are starting the clinical trial now, we very much believe in that market. So, and also that our major competitor in the US, Transmedics, they have a very successful liver device, but they are running it warm. Ours is cold perfusion. We believe in cold, and we understand that there's a lot of clinics in the US that are waiting for that kind of technology. So we see a big potential now, and also that we can build good relationships with clinics throughout the clinical trial.
Okay, very exciting times then. Thank you very much for coming. Time flies. We don't have that much time if we're gonna keep our schedule. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.